Hey, people, how's it going? Today, I want to go ahead and talk about a video I recently saw. This is from Board Game Geek, and the video was by Eric Martin, one of the contributors and people that work over at Board Game Geek. And he was talking about in this video how he converts his space to some of his games into smaller boxes. So if he opens it up and he finds out that the game doesn't need as much space as the box says it does, then he goes ahead and cuts it down, modifies the box, and puts it into just some smaller version. Which, when I first saw him cutting the box to a board game, just my inner gamer was like, and yeah, so that was interesting. But I wanted to make this video because Eric Martin has a point with what game companies have been doing sometimes. Not all game companies, but there have been some games I've opened up and been like, there's no reason to have all this space for this game. And so sometimes most of the times we would just leave it. We would never convert it to something smaller. Now, if expansions were ever to come out, we would go ahead and do that. We'd be like, okay, well, let's go ahead and add it to the box and immediately get it to the other box, which I kind of feel like it's a waste. But at the same time, I'm not gonna. I have only so much shelf space, and I want to make sure I use it to the best of my ability. And when he went and cut down that box and talked about the video and just saying, this is not the only publisher that has done this, there's others. And that's just something I agree. And just it kind of gets at me because sometimes I feel like that they go ahead, game publishers will make, not all game publishers, but some game publishers will go ahead and be like, hey, here's this big box with this price tag on it. And in Eric's video, he even mentions, okay, well, this size makes me feel like that it should be at such and such complexity. And then you open it up and it's like, well, are you just, you baiting me here because I think there's going to be more complexity, or I think it's going to be worth the price that you have put on it. But then you open it up and I feel a little bit cheated. Well, those are my words, not Eric's. But yeah, I just wanted to make this quick video, or just talk about this because I think it's so just right on the mark what Eric was saying. This is I wish game companies would go ahead. I would not all, again, I'm generalizing a lot, but I wish the game companies that think that, oh, we should maybe put this in a bigger box when there's no reason to do so. Now I understand when there are expansions that come out, and if you want to combine the boxes, that's one thing. But sometimes game companies make a bigger box anyways that go ahead and consolidate for the entire game. So why not make the box the same, like what you just need to put all the game components? Now I have also seen some of the comments to that video, and people have said, well, I put the upgraded bits or the play mats in there, and that's a good point. There are extras to games that you could go ahead and put it into that box. Not saying there is no right way to deal with if there's extra space in your box. And like sometimes the inserts, that's another thing. Like, I'm glad we have companies that go ahead and make custom inserts, because it's like there's a lot more companies that just make some crappy inserts, or inserts that just don't work and you just end up throwing out. And again, not a publisher. I don't know what goes in the behind the scenes of creating a good insert, but there are some companies that have done it and done it right. I can think of Arch Ravels. When we got that from Gen Con, we opened it up and it just was fitting. You punched. I love it when a company puts in, self-containers where after you punch everything, you can put those things in there and then, clean it up, put it in the containers that were provided. And then next time you play, you pull out the containers and boom, there's your trays for all the bits. And your setup is just that fast. So going back to space within board games, the spacing, how big are the size of the boxes? I don't know. It just stirred something in me that I wanted to go ahead and create a conversation. And I would love to hear your comments, or I'd love to read your comments below. And just to know if you feel the same way, how do you what is your initial reaction when you open up a board game and you could just think right away, well, wow, why did they need such a big box? Or, hey, maybe in the opposite way, you could go ahead and say maybe they could have made this a little more spacious. Now, I know some companies, especially like there are some companies where you can go ahead and say, well, this company wanted to go with this box size each and every time with that game. I just I don't know. I just feel it's kind of wasteful um, that you have just too much space within a box. Like, why not make it smaller and so I can consolidate on my shelf? Like, again, as you see behind me, I have all of these games on these. I have a dedicated game room. I'm blessed to have that. Not everyone has that. So, why can't there be boxes that are just more, if this is what you need, this is what you get? Not that, hey, let's make it this size to make it this price, or, you know, some companies think ahead for expansions, but other companies, there are some, again, not trying to generalize here, but there are some companies that go ahead and are just like, well, we're going to make a bigger box anyways. So it's like, I'm just throwing out cardboard. And there's this uh, discussion of, wasteful waste in board games sometimes. And yeah, I totally get that. When you get too many baggies or you just have, too much of something and you're just throwing it away. I mean, we have a box in our game room that is the box of bags. These are just a bunch of baggies we've started to collect over time. And so if one game comes in that would need more baggies, that we go ahead and deal that out. But sometimes, most of the time, we end up actually with more bags. So I would love to just hear what y'all have to say about this, because when I saw Eric's video, I just wanted to go ahead and make my own about, I guess a little bit of waste within board games, and specifically the box. We could dive down the rabbit hole of, why can't companies do this, use that? I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. I just want to go ahead and talk about, the size of boxes for board games, because this is something that comes up a lot. And to me, I get games and I'm just like, wow, could they have not made this a little smaller? But then, would there just be a bunch of mishmash and misshapen boxes that would just not fit on the shelves? Would it not be like, would I be playing Tetris all the time? I always shift around these shelves a bunch, just trying to make sure I consolidate my space in the uh, most productive or efficient way possible. So yeah, I just that's got on my little pedestal, and now I'm off, and I'm done with my little spiel. So, what do you think about board game box sizes? Do you think they're always too big, too small? Should companies consider expansions? I mean, it's a hit or miss for some games. And again, I would love to hear your comments below. I think Eric did a great job on his video, and even though his cutting out the box made me cringe, but hey, after it looks kind of cool. And I don't think I'd ever do that to my boxes, but that's just me. I mean, to each his own. So this is just a little rant, a little discussion I wanted to go ahead and spark, and I would love to hear everybody's comments, concerns, and if you kind of like this video on these kind of board game topics, just let me know. Well, thanks for joining us for this little spiel and forum, I guess you could say. But yeah, just go ahead and just let me know, get your thoughts at the comments below. So, without further ado, we'll talk to you guys later. Toodles!